Imagine this: you've served your country, risked your life, and now you're left to face the streets alone. Does that seem fair? The situation of homeless veterans is a piercing illustration of the deep-seated societal issues we are wrestling with in our current times. But before we plunge deeper into this stark socio-political narrative, let's take a pause and reflect on this vulgar reality of our society. Our political leaders, during their campaigning period, often embellish their speeches with the assured support for veterans, painting an idyllic image of their vision them. They pledge to improve the conditions of life for those brave souls who've sacrificed their personal safety and peace to serve the nation. These promises echo through the political rallies and campaign trails with a false hope in the hearts of the listeners. However, the ground reality tends to paint a different picture altogether. Once the frenzied period of election campaigning concludes and the dust of the race for power settles down, the pitiful condition of homeless veterans, who were once the centerpiece of electoral campaigns, slowly fades into oblivion. The constant struggle of these veterans against homelessness is conveniently sidestepped, shoved into the dark corners of state bureaucracy and the labyrinth of hollow promises. Their suffering is masked by the gloss of electoral politics and the blinding lights of power corridors. They are left to grapple with their destitution alone, forgotten by the very people who once used their sacrifices as a stepping stone to power. But once the dust of the election race settles, the plight of homeless veterans is conveniently ignored, swept under the rug of bureaucracy and empty promises. Recently, though, a glimmer of hope has sparkled in the state of Michigan. A $2 million grant has been allocated specifically for the benefit of homeless veterans. This auspicious initiative, though still in its early stages, represents a significant effort to combat the pressing issue of homelessness among our country's heroes. It is indeed a step in the right direction, but the question that lingers is it sufficient? The role the federal government has to play in dealing with the crisis homeless veterans is monumental, and it cannot be overstated. This is not a question of merely providing shelter to those in need. The issue is much deeper, more complex, and requires a comprehensive approach. It's about ensuring mental is catered for, that there are ample job opportunities for them, and a chance for these courageous men and women to reintegrate seamlessly into society, becoming part of the communities they fought to protect. The Michigan Initiative, as commendable as it is, represents only a portion of what is needed. While it is a start, it's merely one drop in the vast ocean of need. The efforts must not stop here. With over 40 veterans sleeping without a roof over their heads on any given night in the United States, the glaring need for a national, encompassing, well-thought-out strategy is more than evident. It's an imperative, a call to action that we as a society must answer. We owe it to the brave men and women who have risked their lives for our nation. The Michigan Initiative is commendable, but it's merely a drop in the ocean. With over 40,000 veterans sleeping on the streets on any given night in the United States, the need for a comprehensive, nationwide strategy is evident. Imagine if the same energy and resources that politicians invest in their campaigns were directed towards solving this crisis. We're talking about a crisis that is more than just a political issue, it's a matter of humanity and dignity. Homelessness is an issue that affects thousands of veterans, oftentimes those who have risked their lives to defend our freedoms and liberties. Imagine a world where these brave individuals are not left to fend for themselves on the streets. A world where our elected officials prioritize the welfare of our heroes over their political ambitions. A world where citizens understand the gravity of this issue and come together to drive change. That's the kind of campaign that would truly be worth voting for. So what can you do? Start by educating yourself about this issue. Understand the complexities and the nuances. Understand why homelessness is such a prevalent issue among our veterans. Next, support initiatives aimed at helping homeless veterans. There are numerous charities, nonprofit organizations, and government programs out there that are committed to addressing this problem. Your support, whether it's through donating, volunteering, or advocating, can make a real difference. On a higher level, advocate for policies that prioritize the welfare of our veterans. Influence the conversation. Use your voice to demand better treatment and better services for our veterans. These are who've served their country, who've made sacrifices for our freedoms. It's high time the country served them in return. Reflect on what kind of nation we want to be. The strength of a nation not in its wealth or military might, but in how it treats its most vulnerable citizens. We want to be a nation that honors its heroes, not one that neglects them. When it comes to the issue of homeless veterans, there's a lot of room for improvement. Now, think about the role of our politicians in all this. The next time you hear a politician pledging their support for veterans, challenge them. Ask them how they plan to tackle the issue of homelessness among veterans. Ask them to be specific. Ask them to be accountable. Because at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. If you like this video, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and share so we can keep you up to date on what's important in our tiny fraction of the universe. And as always, take care.